Potential tropical cyclone 1 is dumping rainfall over Cuba and Florida. So what could be our first storm of the season? Certainly our first designation, 1L in the Atlantic Basin into the Gulf of Mexico, a potential tropical cyclone located at 22.3 north, 86.8 degrees west. Storm heading towards the northeast, towards Florida right now at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, June 3rd. Winds at 40 miles per hour, pressure 1002 millibars, moving northeast at 5 miles per hour. Slowly towards Florida. It will be bypassing to the north of Cuba on the way and is already delivering significant rainfall to both areas, and will pass through the central part of the Florida Peninsula over the next 24 to 48 hours. Here it is right now, its current location, which is still just off the coast of Mexico, with small wind fields of around 60 miles to the east, but no wind field on the western side just now. It is currently 51 miles from Cayo Caum on the Yucatan Peninsula, 77 from Cancun, 290 from Havana, 309 from Key West, and 475 miles from Miami. The storm, of course, has triggered watches and warnings already, tropical storm warnings for large parts of Florida and Cuba, with tropical storm watches centering even further towards the east over Cuban territory at this time. So looking at the expectations, it's flooding that we're mainly talking about right now, and a heavy rainfall currently occurring in Cuba and will begin in Florida soon, already is actually. Maximums of 14 inches expected in Cuba, with maximums of 12 in Florida and 10 in the Bahamas. They'll also get significant rainfall too, although the tropical storm force winds are probably going to remain just shy of the coast of the main islands of the Bahamas. So rainfall is the name of the game with this one, it would seem. Expected track forecast, this is how the weekend looks. It moves through Florida and then out over the western Atlantic. By the time we get to early next week, it's going to pass pretty close to Bermuda actually, and then head off towards the northeast. It'll be post-tropical by this point, however, and what's left of it will continue to get churned away towards the center of the Atlantic Ocean. And there's the forecast cone from the National Hurricane Center, along with their forecast estimate of 40 miles per hour. We usually have other estimates displayed here, like ADT and things like that, but it's too early to actually have a read on that yet. So we're left with the National Hurricane Center cone, which, as you can see there, shows all the watches and warnings as well. And Bermuda may have something to talk about too by the time we get to early next week. There is also the forecast, the tropical storm wind probabilities, and they're getting towards half chance for the coast of Florida, mainly around Naples up to Fort Myers, and that's the area we're sort of looking at for a potential landfall. Cuba, they're at low chance of tropical storm conditions, to be honest, and the Bahamas, it's going to be hit and miss. And there is the GFS model showing that large tropical storm wind field. It gets larger later on in its life, then it just gets absorbed really into a frontal system, but still traceable actually towards the end of that week-long loop. Watch it again, there's those tropical storm force winds developing and burgeoning there as it moves through Florida, but generally on the backside of the storm it's going to be pretty mild, at least early on. Later on, when it's clearing the coast of Florida, is when the backside will build in by the looks of things from what we're seeing on the models. And here is the total precipitable water charts showing that the sort of the moisture flow really of the storm as it continues northeastward. You see the brighter colors, or should I say the darker colors, the stronger colors early on in that loop. Watch again here, you can see all of that moisture mainly moving through southern Florida and then moving off towards the northeast, decreasing in amounts as we go on through that loop. So The gist of this really is rainfall. Winds, of course, will be getting up there to tropical storm force, and you could see some 50-mile-an-hour gusts perhaps, but take a look at the rainfall accumulations as they build in here on this GFS scenario. You can see all of those reds. That's quite a few inches of rain, getting towards 10 inches even. But in a minute we'll be zooming into the Florida region and we'll take a look at just how much rain we're expecting in that very area. Here it is right now, taking a close-up. So you can see there that most of the heaviest rain looks like it's going to avoid the land areas, but the areas that will get the most rain are sort of towards the southwest. But even the Miami-Dade area, 5 inches there, 8 inches further northeast, and getting towards 10 inches in the Naples and the Fort Myers area, and Marco Island is the one I was thinking of. Along the coast of Cuba, 6 to 8 inches generally. Of course, you'll get isolated amounts that are going to be higher than that. Sea surface temperatures are fairly warm, a little bit cool actually just ahead of the storm, but generally fairly warm in the western Atlantic. It's going to be borderline for a brief period before it reaches Florida, but on the other side the temperatures are much warmer, 26 degrees, more than that actually, but coming up to Florida just a little bit cool, 25-26 degrees Celsius, which is probably why it's going to take a while for this to become a fully tropical storm. Let's take a look at the storm on satellite imagery then. This is the latest true color rapid scan imagery, and you can see where the center is trying to get itself established just north of the Yucatan Peninsula, and all that convection bubbling up mainly to the east of the storm. We'll take a more detailed look on the normal visible imagery, which sort of gives us a little bit more definition there. Not so much around the center, but more of the convection, and you can see there channels of convection blowing up sort of close to where the center of the storm will be, but most of it is still well displaced to the east. Of course, you can see some of that already, the cloud coverage at least, reaching and expanding over. Obviously large parts of Cuba are receiving lots of rain right now, but also towards Florida. We'll take a look at the radar in a moment, but let's just take a look at some more satellite derivations. Here is the water vapor imagery, and there you can see quite clearly the dry air is a big issue for this storm right now. And it is a storm, of course, we should mention, because it is 40 miles per hour, so it does have those gale force winds, just that it is not yet a tropical storm by the definitions, as it has to be cyclonic. Let's take a look at some more. This is some more infrared, the cloud top phase, and then the traditional infrared, showing those cloud tops are decently stacked up there. And let's blend it all together. There is the infrared on top of the visible imagery to give you the full picture of this storm right now. Press a few buttons and we'll see if we can check in with the radar at Key West to show you how that looks right now. And of course, with the storm being on its way, we should be able to see something interesting. So here is that imagery right now, and you can see from the Key West radar there is a lot of precipitation in the state of Florida, particularly in the south, and you can even see some of what's going on in Cuba on that radar down there. Quite a few red zones there from that radar scope right now. And looking further north over Florida itself, you can see that some significant amounts of rain are falling right now in southern Florida, even in the Miami-Dade area as well. Significant accumulations may well be forming, and of course there's that potential for flash flooding as we switch over to the Miami radar there. You can see right now, as of the recording time, of course, this will change dynamically throughout the day to its northwest, some significant rainfall. Of course, this will continue throughout the night tonight into tomorrow, but we expect that the leading edge of the storm will not only have the strongest winds, but will also have the highest amounts of rain.